Book 10. 1. O my soul, will you ever be good, simple, whole, and bare, more visible than the body that surrounds you? Will you ever taste a loving and satisfied disposition? Will you ever be full and free of want, setting your heart on nothing, whether living or lifeless, just to chase pleasure? You must stop craving more time for longer enjoyment. You must stop longing for a different place, country, climate, or better company. Will you be satisfied with your present state, and happy with every current circumstance? Will you convince yourself that you have everything you need, that all is well with you, and that everything comes to you from the gods? You must trust that whatever they are pleased to give, both now and in the future, is best for you. This preserves the perfect universe, which is good, just, and beautiful. The universe generates, combines, embraces, and includes all fleeting things that dissolve to bring forth others like themselves. Will you ever be able to live as a fellow citizen with gods and men, approving of them and being approved by them in return? 2. Since you are governed by nature, observe carefully what nature demands. Then do it freely, as long as it does not harm your nature as a living creature. Next, you must consider what the nature of a living creature demands. Allow yourself everything of this kind, as long as it does not harm your nature as a rational being. It is clear that what is rational is also social. Therefore, follow these rules and trouble yourself no further. 3. Whatever happens, nature has either made you able to bear it or unable to bear it. If you are able, then bear it exactly as nature intended, and do not complain. If you are unable, do not complain either, because when the struggle finally destroys you, the trial itself will also pass away. Remember, though, that nature has given you the power to endure anything. Your own perspective can make any trial tolerable. You only need to view it as beneficial or as a duty to be borne. For, if someone is doing wrong, correct them kindly and show them their mistake. If you cannot do this, you have only yourself to blame, or better yet, blame no one at all. 5. Whatever happens to you was prepared for you from the beginning of time. The vast chain of causes has forever woven your existence together with this exact event. 6. Whether the universe is a random mess of atoms or guided by a universal law of nature, let me first establish that I am a part of the whole governed by nature. Second, I am connected with other parts just like me. Keeping this in mind, since I am merely a part, I will not be dissatisfied with anything assigned to me by the whole. Nothing that benefits the whole can ever be harmful to the part, because the whole contains nothing that is useless to itself. All natural systems share this law, and the universe has an additional law on top of it. The universe cannot be forced by any outside cause to produce anything harmful to itself. If I remember that I am part of such a whole, I will be satisfied with everything that comes from it. And because I am deeply connected to parts similar to myself, I will never do anything antisocial. Instead, I will draw closer to my kind, direct all my efforts toward the public good, and avoid doing the opposite. By living this way, my life is bound to go well. You would say a citizen's life is going well when they move from one public-spirited action to another, throwing themselves entirely into every task the state assigns them. My life is exactly the same. 7. The parts of the whole, meaning the parts contained within the universe, must necessarily perish. But by perish, let us just say they change. Now, if it were truly an evil thing for the parts to perish, it would not be good for the whole if its parts were built to change and perish in various ways. Did nature really set out to injure its own building blocks, making them vulnerable to evil and forcing them to fall into it? Or did nature simply fail to notice that this happens? Both ideas are impossible to believe. If we drop the concept of nature and simply say that things are just built this way, it is still ridiculous. It makes no sense to say that the parts of the universe are built to change, and then complain or be surprised when they do change and dissolve. You act as if it goes against the very course of nature, even though everything simply dissolves back into the elements it originally came from. A thing's elements are either scattered, or they are converted. Solid things turn back into earth, and spiritual things return to the air. Ultimately, these ingredients are absorbed back into the universe, which either periodically burns up in fire or renews itself through endless changes. Do not imagine that you have had all your solid and airy matter since birth. All of it was added just yesterday or the day before, coming from the food you ate and the air you breathed. It is this recently added matter that changes, not the exact substance your mother gave birth to. Even if you feel closely attached to your current physical form, it does not change the truth of what I have just said. 8. You have claimed these titles for yourself: good, modest, truthful, prudent, even-tempered, and noble. Make sure you do not lose them, and if you ever do, win them back immediately. Remember what these words truly mean. Prudence means using reason and careful attention to observe everything. An even temper means cheerfully accepting whatever universal nature assigns to you. Being noble means lifting your thinking mind above the pleasant or painful movements of your flesh. It means rising above vanity, the fear of death, and all similar things. If you steadily hold on to these titles, without craving to hear others say them about you, you will become a new man. A new life will open up for you. To continue living the way you have until now, trapped in the same life of distraction and pollution, would make you a senseless fool. You would be like the half-eaten gladiators in the arena who, despite being covered in wounds and blood, beg to be saved for tomorrow, only to be thrown back in their misery to the same claws and fangs that tore them apart. So take your stand on these few titles. If you can hold on to them, stay there, as if you have been carried away to paradise. But if you notice yourself slipping, and you cannot win the fight, have the courage to retreat into some quiet corner where you can recover. Or, simply depart from life altogether. Do not leave in anger, but with simplicity, freedom, and modesty. By leaving life this way, you will have done at least one thing well. It will help you remember your titles if you realize that the gods do not want empty flattery. They want rational beings to become more like them. Remember that a fig tree is meant to bear figs, a dog is meant to hunt, a bee is meant to gather honey, and a man is meant to do a man's work. 9. Drama, war, panic, laziness, and a slavish mindset will wipe out the sacred principles you have gathered by observing nature and storing them in your mind. You should always look and act so that you not only finish the task in front of you, but also exercise your deeper understanding. You must preserve the self-confidence that comes from true knowledge, without showing off or pretending to hide it. Will you ever achieve true simplicity and dignity? Will you ever be able to perfectly analyze what a thing really is, its true place in the universe, how long it will last, what it is made of, who it belongs to, and who can give it and take it away? 10. A spider celebrates when it catches a fly. One man celebrates catching a small rabbit, another netting a little fish, another hunting down a wild boar or a bear, and another conquering foreign tribes. But if you look at the principles driving them, aren't they all just thieves? 11. Learn how to clearly see how all things change into one another. Pursue this specific branch of philosophy and practice it constantly. There is nothing better for developing a truly great mind. A person who does this has already let go of their physical body. They realize how soon they must leave humanity and leave all earthly things behind. Therefore, they dedicate themselves entirely to justice in their own actions, and to the law of the universe in everything else that happens. As for what anyone says, thinks, or does against them, they do not give it a second thought. They are completely satisfied with just two things: acting justly in their current work, and loving the fate assigned to them. This kind of person has thrown away all stress and rushing around. They have no other desire except to stay on the straight path of natural law, and to follow God, whose path is always straight. 12. Why be suspicious or anxious when you can clearly consider what needs to be done? If you can see the path forward, take it calmly and without hesitation. If you cannot see the way, pause and ask the best advisors for help. If some other obstacle gets in your way, move forward with careful caution, using the tools you have, and always stick to what seems right and just. Achieving this is the best possible outcome, and failing to do justice is the only real failure. The person who follows reason in everything is always relaxed but ready for action, always cheerful but fully composed. 13. As soon as you wake up, ask yourself, does it matter to you if someone else does what is right and good? No, it does not. Have you forgotten how these people, who loudly praise or blame others, behave in their own beds and at their own tables? Remember what they do, what they avoid, and what they chase. Remember how they lie and cheat, not with their hands and feet, but with their own minds, the most precious part of a human being. It is in the mind where a person can build faith, modesty, truth, law, and a good guiding spirit, if only they choose to. 14. To nature, which gives and takes everything back again, a wise and modest person will say, give what you want, and take back what you want. They say this not to show off, but out of pure obedience and goodwill toward nature. 15. The time you have left in this life is very short. Live as if you were alone on a mountain. It makes no difference whether you live here or there, as long as you live as a true citizen of the world wherever you are. Let people finally see and know a real human being who actually lives according to nature. If they cannot stand you, let them kill you. It is far better to die than to live the way they do. 16. Stop talking about what a good man should be, and just be one. 17. Constantly imagine the vast scale of all time and all existence. Realize that compared to the whole, every individual thing is as tiny as a fig seed in physical size, and lasts only as long as the quick turn of a drill. 18. Look at everything around you and see it as already dissolving and changing. Watch it rot away and scatter into nothing. Remember that every single thing was created by nature simply to die. 19. Think about how these arrogant people behave when they are eating, sleeping, having sex, going to the bathroom, and the like. Then watch them acting superior to everyone else, puffed up with pride, getting angry, and handing down judgments from on high. Just recently, how many things were they enslaved to, and for what petty reasons? And very soon, what will their ultimate fate be? 20. Whatever universal nature brings to a person is always to their advantage. Furthermore, it is brought exactly at the right time. 21. The earth loves the rain, and the majestic sky loves to fall upon it. The universe loves to bring about whatever is destined to happen. Therefore, I say to the universe, whatever you love, I love too. After all, don't we commonly say that a certain thing just loves to happen? 22. You are either living your normal life right here, or you are choosing to travel somewhere else, or you are finally dying and your duties are finished. There are no other options. Therefore, be brave and keep your courage up. 23. Keep this fact clearly in your mind, a quiet country retreat is exactly the same as anywhere else. Everything here is the same as it is on a mountain top, on a beach, or wherever else you might go. You can always live the life of a wise man, as Plato said, turning the busy city wall into a quiet shepherd's pen in the mountains. 24. What is my own soul to me? What am I turning it into, and how am I using it right now? Is it completely empty of understanding? Has it broken off and separated from the greater community of humanity? Is it so glued and tangled up with my physical body that it just blindly follows every urge of the flesh? 25. Anyone who runs away from their master is a fugitive. Our master is the natural law, and whoever breaks that law is a runaway. The same is true for anyone who, out of grief, anger, or fear, refuses to accept what has happened, is happening, or will happen. These events are destined by the supreme power that governs all things, laying out exactly what is right for every person. Therefore, anyone who feels fear, grief, or anger is simply a runaway slave. 26. A man plants his seed in a womb and then walks away. After that, another force takes over, works on it, and creates a fully formed child. What an incredible result from such a simple start! Later, the child swallows food. Then another hidden force takes that food and transforms it into sensation, movement, life, strength, and so many other amazing things. Think deeply about how these miracles happen in secret. Recognize the unseen power that produces them, just as we recognize gravity pulling things down or lifting them up. We cannot see these forces with our eyes, but we can perceive them just as clearly. 27. Constantly reflect on the fact that everything happening right now has happened exactly the same way before, and it will all happen again in the future. Picture all the dramas and scenes you know from your own experience or from ancient history. Think of the entire court of Hadrian, the court of Antoninus, or the courts of Philip, Alexander, and Croesus. The plays are always exactly the same, only the actors are different. 28. Whenever you see someone grieving or throwing a fit about anything, imagine they are like a pig being sacrificed, kicking and screaming under the knife. The person who lies on their bed, quietly crying about the unfairness of fate, is doing the exact same thing. Remember that everything is bound to its fate, but only a rational human being has the power to accept it willingly. In the end, everyone is forced to submit anyway. 29. Look closely at every single thing you do, and ask yourself, is death really so terrifying just because it stops you from doing this? 30. When you are offended by someone else's fault, immediately turn inward and look at your own similar flaws. Ask yourself if you also value things like money, pleasure, a little bit of fame, or anything similar. By shifting your focus to this, you will quickly forget your anger. It helps even more if you realize that the person is acting under a compulsion and simply cannot help themselves. If you have the power to do so, free them from that compulsion rather than getting angry. 31. When you see someone like Soteriou, think of older figures like Eutyches or Hymen. When you see Euphrates, think of Eutychio or Silvanus. When you see Alciphron, think of Tropiophorus. When you see Xenophon, think of Crito or Severus. When you look at yourself, think of any of the past emperors. Do this with everyone you meet. Then ask yourself, where are all those people now? They are nowhere, or who even knows where they are? By doing this, you will see that all human affairs are just smoke and absolute nothingness. This is especially true when you realize that once a thing changes, it will never exist again in all of infinite time. Why then are you so worried about everything? Why isn't it enough just to live out your short time calmly and wisely? What incredible material for philosophy you are ignoring. All earthly events are just exercises to train your rational mind, once you learn to view life accurately and in its natural order. Stay grounded until you have fully digested all these experiences, just as a strong stomach digests any kind of food, or a bright fire turns everything you throw into it into brilliant flame and light. 32. Never give anyone a reason to truthfully say that you are not a man of simplicity, honesty, and goodness. If anyone holds that opinion of you, make sure they are completely wrong. This is entirely within your own power. Who can possibly stop you from being good and pure-hearted? You should resolve to stop living entirely if you cannot be a good man, because even reason would not require you to keep living in that case. 33. In your current situation, what is the best possible thing you can do or say? Whatever it is, you are completely free to do or say it. Do not make excuses and pretend you are being blocked. You will never stop complaining until acting like a proper human being becomes as much of a luxury to you as wealth is to a greedy man. You must learn to find true joy in doing whatever suits your nature, no matter what situation falls into your lap. You have the freedom to act according to your nature everywhere. A rolling cylinder cannot just move wherever it wants. Water, fire, and irrational animals cannot either, because they are bound by physical rules and blocked by countless obstacles. But human reason can push through any barrier to reach its goal. Picture how easily reason glides through obstacles, just as fire travels upward, a stone falls downward, or a cylinder rolls down a hill, and you will not need anything else. The rest of a man's difficulties belong only to the lifeless physical body. These problems cannot crush him or truly harm him, unless his own mind allows it by surrendering reason. If physical hardships actually made a person evil, everyone who suffered would instantly become a bad person. When disasters happen to animals or plants, the creature itself is damaged. But when disasters happen to a man, he actually becomes better and more praiseworthy by using those hard circumstances wisely. Finally, remember that nothing can harm a citizen unless it also harms the city. And nothing harms the city unless it harms the law. None of the things we call misfortunes can actually harm the law. Therefore, what does not hurt the law cannot possibly hurt the city or the citizen. 34. For a man who truly understands these principles, the shortest and most common reminder is enough to keep him completely free from sorrow and fear. Think of these lines. Some leaves are blown down by the wind. The fruitful forest grows more in the spring. In the same way, one generation of men ends, while another is born. Your children are just leaves. The crowds who confidently shout your praises, or curse you, or secretly mock you, are all just leaves. The people who pass your fame down to the next generation are leaves, too. They all appear in the spring, the wind shakes them down, and the forest grows more to take their place. A short life is the common fate of all things, yet you avoid or chase after them as if they will last forever. Very soon, you will close your eyes forever. And not long after that, others will be mourning the very people who carried your coffin. 35. A healthy eye should be ready to look at everything visible. It should not say, "I only want to see green," which is a sign of a diseased eye. Healthy ears and a healthy nose should be ready for anything that can be heard or smelled. A healthy stomach should be ready to digest all kinds of food, just as a mill grinds whatever is thrown into it. In the exact same way, a healthy mind should be fully prepared for anything that happens. A mind that constantly cries out, "Please let my children be spared," or "Let everyone applaud everything I do," is just like an eye that begs for green, or weak teeth that can only handle soft food. 36. No matter how fortunate a man is, there will always be someone standing by his deathbed who is secretly glad he is dying. Even if he was a virtuous and wise man, won't someone finally say to themselves, "At last I can breathe freely without this strict teacher hanging over me. He wasn't overtly cruel, but I always felt like he was silently judging us." That is what they will say about a good man. But in my own case, there are so many more reasons why a whole crowd of people will be thrilled to finally be rid of me. You must remember this when you are dying. It will help you leave with much less regret if you tell yourself, "I am leaving a world where even my closest partners, the people I worked, prayed, and planned for, actually want me gone. They are probably hoping to gain some advantage from my death. Why would anyone want to drag out their time here under those conditions?" However, do not let this make you bitter when you leave them. Keep your own character intact, and remain friendly, kind, and gracious to the very end. Do not leave the world feeling like you are being violently torn away. Let your departure be like a gentle, easy death, where the soul simply slips quietly out of the body. Nature bound you and glued you to your fellow humans, but now she is separating you. So I part from them as I would from my own family, not dragging my feet, but walking away freely. After all, death itself is a perfectly natural thing. 37. Whenever someone takes action, make it a habit to constantly ask yourself, what is their ultimate goal here? But start at home and closely examine your own motives first. 38. Remember that the force pulling your puppet strings is the hidden mind inside you. That mind is your true voice, your true life, and the very core of who you are. Never confuse your inner self with the clay vessel of your body or the physical organs attached to it. Aside from the fact that they grow on us, our body parts are no different than a carpenter's axe. Without your guiding mind moving them and holding them back, those physical parts are as useless as a shuttle without a weaver, a pen without a writer, or a whip without a driver.